Well, hello readers by eyes and by ears. This is Mary Chan and welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with another reading of Riverbay Road, Men's Dormitory by Fei Tian, Xiang, also known as Arise Zhang. And you guys, this is the final recording of Volume 1. I cannot believe we made it already. I feel like I just started this freaking novel. How am I moving faster than I intended? I have no idea. But that is irrelevant. The point is, we are on the last three chapters 24 through 26. So I hope you all enjoy them and are getting ready for our live discussion to chat about this before we move on to Volume 2. So let's get started. Chapter 24. Yuwen's first thought when he awoke was, oh no, I blacked out. What happened last night? Huh? Jung Weize glanced at Chahng, who was still fast asleep. Nothing happened. Yuwen's head was buzzing. He hadn't been that drunk in a long time. I didn't do anything weird, did I? He asked, embarrassed. Nope, Jung Weize said quickly. Chahng woke up and blearily said, I'm going back to my room now. I'm so sorry. Yuwen felt terrible. Had he ruined everyone's New Year's celebration? No, it's really nothing, Jung Weize insisted. Oh yeah, is it time for Xiaoqi's milk? I'll do it. Thank you, Weize. It looked like Jung Weize and Chahng had taken care of him all night long. Yuwen was touched. I didn't really do much, actually. I was sleeping. But Yuwen came over a few times, Jung Weize said apprehensively. He wasn't sure he should be telling Yuwen this, but Yuwen just hummed an acknowledgement, his expression unchanging. Chahng and I fell asleep, but it seems like Yuwen didn't sleep all night. Yuwen looked out the front door to Zhang Yuwen's door, which was also open. It was quiet inside. It was true. Zhang Yuwen had had a busy night. He didn't understand it. Why did Suh-chun and Yuwen start drinking together? And Suh-chun even cried afterward. Of course, that might not have been related. Suh-chun's emotional release could have just been a consequence of his sake binge. The whole night, Zhang Yuwen heard Chahng's snores from the room opposite. Jung Weize also seemed to sleep like the dead. So once he'd taken care of Suh-chun, he went over to check on Yuwen and, more importantly, Xiaoqi, in case Yuwen puked on her in the middle of the night or crushed her in his sleep. While Xiaoqi no longer needed nighttime feeding, she was still prone to waking during the night. As a motherless child, Xiaoqi was very sensible, possessing calm and maturity far beyond her years. She understood that crying was futile when she woke up in the night, because her exhausted father usually wouldn't stir. Her only options for entertaining herself in the dark were to keep her eyes open or crawl around. But that night, Zhang Yuwen came and sat down to hold her, lulling her back to sleep. So Zhang Yuwen spent the night going back and forth between the two rooms, navigating around the unreliable Jung Weize and Chahng, who were dead to the world. He only managed to drift off to sleep just before daybreak, and he hadn't even slept 3 hours when Suh-chun woke up. Zhang Yuwen rolled over in Suh-chun's arms, and Suh-chun hugged him from behind and watched him sleeping soundly, not daring to move or breathe. His heart pounded so hard it felt like the whole world was resonating with it. In his pajamas, Zhang Yuwen exuded the unique, clean vitality of youth. Hormones slowly diffused in the confines of the small room, acting like a peculiar boundary. This was another male's territory. It was a domain that carried the dignity of its owner, even as it granted Suh-chun entrance and tacit permission to run wild within. It was different from a woman's natural tenderness and unconditional inclusion and acceptance. This acceptance was conditional. The conditions made Suh-chun tense and excited, and this stimulation transformed into a desire to explore deeper. Zhang Yuwen stirred again. Suh-chun, still half asleep himself, was pressed up against him. If this continued, Zhang Yuwen would probably wake up. Suh-chun reeked of alcohol, and he knew he had to get going to clean himself up. He got up, and before long, Zhang Yuwen woke. He held his blanket and sat up in a bleary daze. Didn't sleep well last night? Suh-chun couldn't remember what happened at all. His last memory was of telling the waiter, "Bring me another bottle of this." Zhang Yuwen yawned. He wanted to punch someone. "What do you think?" he retorted. With a toothbrush in his mouth, Suh-chun stepped out of the bathroom and raised a dashing brow at Zhang Yuwen. He went back to rinse his mouth, then said, "I didn't say anything strange last night, did I?" Zhang Yuwen stared at him. Now that he'd sobered up, Suh-chun had reverted to his usual suave persona. "No," said Zhang Yuwen, equal parts amused and exasperated. "Where's Yanjun?" "He got drunk too. Why did you guys drink so much?" Suh-chun spread his hands. He didn't know why either. It just happened while we were talking. Maybe because we're both youngest sons from big families? We have common ground. Getting trashed was embarrassing, but it was usually also satisfying, though not for the person who had to play caretaker. By 10 o'clock, everyone was awake in the common area, enjoying the breakfast the resort had provided. "Free time today?" said Jung Weize. "We still have one more night." "No more drinking today," Jinxing said lightly. As Suh-chun observed them all, he noticed that Zhang Yuwen looked different. Everyone else was in high spirits, but Zhang Yuwen looked exhausted. It was the kind of exhaustion that made him look liable to flip the table and go berserk. "Did you take care of me all night?" Suh-chun whispered. "So you finally noticed," Zhang Yuwen thought. Out loud, he replied, "Nah, I fell asleep pretty quickly." Suh-chun was puzzled, but he nodded. Yanjun grinned knowingly at Zhang Yuwen. "No more drinking tonight," said Zhang Yuwen. "Because of you two, we missed the fireworks." "I'll set one off for your eyes only." Suh-chun made a suggestive gesture like fireworks going off, and everyone laughed. "Shall we go to the park later?" Jinxing suggested. "I checked the travel guide last night. There are plenty of places we can go to have fun in the mountains." "Sure." Zhang Weize was the most fun-loving of them all. Realizing belatedly that this might not be a good time to appear so enthusiastic, he cooled his expression and said, "Oh." After a simple breakfast, the group set out together, taking the resort's shuttle bus to the park at the foot of the mountain. The sun was shining brightly on the first day of the new year, and with the rising temperature, the snow had melted. Green pines lined the roads on their way over. Now that he'd had 2 cups of coffee, Zhang Yuwen finally felt like himself again. "Deer!" Zhang Weize exclaimed in delight. "There's so many of them!" A herd of deer had appeared in the park. The place was packed with tourists, and numerous stalls set up at the side of the park sold crackers for the deer. "Be careful," Zhang Yuwen warned him. "Don't underestimate these deer." Jinxing walked over with his camera to take photos, and Zhang Weize looked for deer to play with. The deer here weren't skittish around people. When they saw visitors, they gathered to ask for food. "Don't let Xiao-Ti get too close," Zhang Yuwen told Yanjun. "I know," said Yanjun. "I've been here before." He held Xiao-Ti in his arms to let her look at the deer. The group dispersed in the park. Suh-chun bought some crackers for the deer and handed them to Zhang Yuwen, who chuckled and said, "The deer here are mischievous, greedy too." "They can be aggressive, especially the males," Suh-chun said. "Be careful not to provoke the males." Zhang Yuwen cautiously fed the crackers to a few fawns who had strayed from the herd. "I was attacked by one when I was little. It almost knocked me to the ground." Suh-chun laughed. "I was also... He trailed off, seeming to remember something. He looked at Zhang Yuwen, then the deer. "What's wrong?" "I think I made a friend in this park when I was very young," Suh-chun said. "Oh, really?" "Oh!" A memory surfaced in Zhang Yuwen's mind, too. "Yeah, I remember. My grandparents brought me here, I think, when I was 4. Yeah, that's right." Zhang Yuwen stopped feeding the fawns, but several more deer came over to join them. Suh-chun drove them away. "That year, I pestered my grandfather to bring me here to feed the deer," Zhang Yuwen went on, immersed in his memories. "He didn't want to leave the resort, though, so the couple in the next room over brought me here." "Were there 2 brothers in that family? One 9 years old, one 7? "I think so." "Yeah. Was it in the spring?" Suh-chun gave Zhang Yuwen an earnest smile. "Huh? Was it you?" Zhang Yuwen asked incredulously. "You and your brother?" "My memories are hazy." "Huh. What a magical coincidence. If that really was you," Zhang Yuwen marveled. "I only remember that my father rarely took me and my brother out to play, so that day left a deep impression on me. I think I think I was attacked. Yeah. Yeah, the younger brother was knocked over by the deer when he tried to protect me. Suh-chun laughed. Was I that weak then? There were a few of them, Zhang Yuwen told him. Yeah, it was two brothers. The older one came and chased the deer away. The younger one hit a rock and ended up bleeding from the head. He made Suh-chun come closer so he could check his scalp, but sustaining an injury that young was unlikely to leave a scar. Find a scar? Suh-chun laughed. I guess not. Zhang Yuwen smiled, still absorbed in those memories. Every time he glanced at Suh-chun was watching him with a smile in his eyes. So, fate is predetermined by heavens, Suh-chun said. I can't believe I met you when I was 7. But why didn't we write to each other after we went back? Zhang Yuwen's memory was fuzzy. It had been more than 20 years ago. You said you didn't live in Jiangdong when we parted ways. I was only 4. I didn't understand anything. Yeah. Suh-chun thought about it. After that trip, my father took us abroad. There should be photos somewhere. I'll ask my brother to go back and look for them. We moved houses a few times, though, so it's possible we don't have them anymore. He took out his phone and sent a message to his older brother across the ocean. His brother replied with a promise to find them when he had the time. More details were coming to Zhang Yuwen, but further away, chaos had erupted. A deer was tugging on Jinxing's camera, and Weize was calling for help. It looked like the incident at Elephant Gorge was about to repeat itself. Zhang Yuwen and Suh-chun rushed over to help and used the crackers to lure the deer away. Elsewhere, in a sunny spot, Xiao-chee was having a great time. Still in Yanjuan's arms, she petted a quiet, docile fawn. Jinxing took a lot of pictures. Afterward, the group set off for a nearby temple to pray for the new year. There were few people around at 1 in the afternoon. The main hall had paper slips for making wishes, and after they donated money for incense, each of them received a slip, wrote their wishes at the counter, and went to tie it to the tree outside. What did you wish for? Suh-chun asked. We aren't supposed to show each other, said Zhang Yuwen. But we can see it after we tie it up, Suh-chun deadpanned. Did your wish have anything to do with me? Zhang Yuwen gave in and showed it to him. I wished for your career. How did you know? Suh-chun asked, looking stunned. Know what? Let me see yours. Zhang Yuwen tried to get Suh-chun's slip, but Suh-chun wouldn't show it to him. What did I say when I was drunk last night? Nothing. Isn't it normal to make a wish for someone's career? Come on, show me, Zhang Yuwen insisted. Suh-chun remained silent. You must have wished for yourself. He grabbed Suh-chun's slip, took a look, and returned it to him, smiling. I made a wish for you too, said Suh-chun. His wish slip said, May Zhang Yuwen have a good marriage. What's that supposed to mean? Zhang Yuwen wondered. He figured that it probably made some kind of sense in Suh-chun's mind. As they hung up their wish slips, Zhang Yuwen's curiosity got the better of him. He peeked at his roommate's colorful slips. Pink was for marriage, yellow for health, blue for career, and gold for wealth. Yanjuan's was yellow. It said, May everyone I love stay healthy. Chahng was for his career. Here's hoping I can reach new heights next year. Jinxing's, get rich overnight in the new year. And finally, Weize's, I wish for all of us to live happily together forever. When they saw Weize's wish, a vague, guilty silence fell over the rest of them. I'll treat everyone to lunch today, Weize announced, smiling. Sure, said Jinxing, bright despite the awkward vibe. Weize treated them to pizza from the shopping street outside the temple, and afterward, they split up to walk around. Jinxing had his camera around his neck, and he seemed to have made up with Weize, who kept getting Jinxing to take photos of him. The others didn't intrude on them. Yanjuan and Chahng walked together, Xiao-chee once again fast asleep in her stroller. Zhang Yuwen, for his part, was too sleepy to walk around. He chose a warm, grassy spot near the garden and had Suh-chun sit down so he could rest his head on Suh-chun's lap and sleep. You didn't sleep last night, did you? Suh-chun asked. Zhang Yuwen covered his face with his jacket to shield himself from the winter sun. Is your career not going well? Suh-chun thought for a moment. I'm considering a job change. I can't work with my current partner anymore. A partnership is like a marriage. Over time, people change. An apt analogy, as expected of a writer. Zhang Yuwen didn't answer. He was waiting for Suh-chun to share more of his own accord. If they really wanted to be together, this level of mutual understanding was necessary. He decided he would eventually tell Suh-chun about his real financial situation too, but not just yet. He could tell that Suh-chun was proud. It wasn't obvious from his usual behavior, but a big part of his self-confidence stemmed from his career, wealth, and social experience. So Zhang Yuwen kept reminding himself to tread lightly so as to not step on his ego. Eventually, Suh-chun said, "When I think about my expenses, I find it hard to make a decision." "You don't live extravagantly, though," Zhang Yuwen smiled. "Or is there someone else helping you spend your money?" "I still have a mortgage to pay off, and I also want to give you a better life." Zhang Yuwen was touched. He could tell that Suh-chun's feelings were genuine, because Zhang Yuwen himself had said the same words to his ex. A man's love was, for the most part, pragmatic. It was mainly reflected in his considerations for the future, including how to give his lover a better life, what kind of family to build, and how to ensure they could stay together without the other suffering. "I don't spend that much," said Zhang Yuwen. "You lead a simple and frugal life. Your inner world is strong and rich, but I still hope... Anyway, I'm still thinking it over." "Changing jobs?" "Yeah. I don't want to speak ill of my partner. We've known each other for a long time, after all. No matter how bad the mess is, it's of my own making. It's pointless to pretend otherwise. All I want to do now is to split on good terms." The way Suh-chun thought was similar to Zhang Yuwen. They shared a lot of values. "If it really bothers you, you can consider giving up your shares. Is your company listed?" "No. I've been thinking about that too." "What are the shares valued at?" "Nearly 2 million. "Your partner isn't likely to buy out your shares with hard cash," Zhang Yuwen said. "The more you drag it out, the uglier it will get. It's better to give up earlier." "You know a lot," Suh-chun commented. "It's just common sense." Suh-chun held Zhang Yuwen's hands under the coat. "To most people, 2 million is not a small amount." "Yeah, that's true." Zhang Yuwen's monthly investment income was over 2 million. Now he was wondering, was I too casual about that? "Another problem," Suh-chun continued, "is that if I leave this company, I'll have to find a new job, and I can't get a satisfactory annual salary in CTO level positions with the market how it currently is. You know, the economic downturn and all." "Oh, have you been sending out your resume?" "No, my position is usually filled through referrals from industry peers. The market rate is only approximately 26 or 27,000. "That's a lot," Zhang Yuwen said quickly, trying to make up for his earlier composure. Then he added, "My salary is only a fraction of yours." "It's different for you," Suh-chun said offhandedly. "Huh?" "I mean, you don't have that many expenses. I still have a monthly mortgage over 10,000. And then there are the daily expenses too," Suh-chun explained. Zhang Yuwen wanted to ask if he had any savings, but he held himself back. "Anyway, that makes it hard for me to decide." "A new job at a new company won't necessarily be better than the old one," Zhang Yuwen said. "Yeah, all crows under the sun are black." At this point, Zhang Yuwen was so sleepy he couldn't keep his eyes open anymore. He rolled over and fell asleep. Chapter 25. When he woke up again, it was already 5 p.m., and the sun was on its way down. Everyone gathered in the park again, each having bought their own souvenirs. Zhang Yuwen, who had Suh-chun's coat around him, opened his bleary eyes to see Jinxing taking photos of him, and Suh-chun smiling and not stopping him. Zhang Yuwen made as if to get up to kick Jinxing's ass, causing everyone to laugh and disperse. When they returned to the resort, everyone went to soak in the hot spring separately. "I'll watch Xiao-chee while you guys go enjoy the hot spring," Zhang Yuwen volunteered. Suh-chun wanted to stay with Zhang Yuwen, but Zhang Yuwen shook his head. "You were exposed to the wind in the park without a coat. Don't catch a cold." Yuwen smiled. "Then I'll go take a bath." Chahng moved his belongings to Yuwen's room, and Jinxing went over to share a room with Weize. Something had definitely happened between them again today. And then everyone was gone. The common area was strangely quiet, their game of Monopoly lying unfinished on the table. Xiaoqi, no longer satisfied with exploring the furniture, picked up the game money and looked at it curiously. "Don't tear it, okay?" Zhang Yuwen told her. He put the dice away in case she decided to eat them. Zhang Yuwen was fond of children. If he'd had a daughter like Xiaoqi, he probably wouldn't date again. He would devote himself wholeheartedly to taking care of her, showering her with all of his attention. He'd spoil her and treat her like a little princess from the moment she was born. Suddenly, Xiaoqi looked at Zhang Yuwen and said, "Yuwen?" Zhang Yuwen froze. For a wild moment he panicked, thinking something supernatural was occurring. But then he realized what had happened. "Are you calling me? Xiaoqi, you can say my name." "Yuwen," Xiaoqi said again in her baby voice. "What?" Zhang Yuwen was stunned. As far as he knew, it was Xiaoqi's second word, her first besides Papa. His name wasn't easy to pronounce either. How had she learned it? Probably because Yanne said it a lot. Okay. Xiaoqi, who found Zhang Yuwen's reaction hilarious, came over to hand him the Monopoly money. "Yuwen?" Oh my God. This was the first baby who had ever fully trusted Zhang Yuwen and called him by his name. He couldn't help the tears that sprang to his eyes. He wanted to pick Xiaoqi up, but she refused. "Yuwen, Yuwen," Xiaoqi said again and toddled away. "Is anyone here?" Zhang Yuwen was so worked up that he wanted to find someone to show this off to. Alas, everyone was gone. Light from the setting sun streamed through the doorway, casting everything in a golden glow, and Zhang Yuwen felt that he grasped the transient meaning of existence. He would remember this moment for the rest of his life. "Oh, wow," he said. He was so moved he almost cried. Yanjun was the first to return. She can say my name," Zhang Yuwen exclaimed when he saw Yanjun. "Yanjun, did you hear that? She can say Yuwen." Yanjun wore a bathrobe, his hair still damp. His smile was striking. Maybe she picked it up because of how often we all say it. "Say it again," Zhang Yuwen said to Xiaoqi. Xiaoqi ignored him and opened her arms to Yanjun, who picked her up. She was still grasping Zhang Yuwen's clothes, though, refusing to let him leave. "Yuwen!" Zhang Yuwen laughed delightedly. "You hear that? How many words can she say now?" "3. This is the third. She can say auntie, too." Zhang Yuwen was beside himself with joy. Gradually, the others returned, and when they heard Xiaoqi could say names now, they took turns coaching her. "Huh, that's not fair," Chen complained. "Hey, Yanjun, have you only been teaching your daughter Yuwen's name?" Except for Yanjun, who was in his room blow-drying his hair and didn't hear them, they all erupted into laughter. "Where's Sichen?" Zhang Yuwen asked. "He's still waiting for you at the hot spring," Jinxing told him. Zhang Yuwen quickly changed into a bathrobe and made his way there. Sichen was sitting on the stone area by the hot spring when Zhang Yuwen jumped in and splashed water all over him. He watched Zhang Yuwen. "You're in a good mood." Zhang Yuwen grinned but didn't explain. "Feeling refreshed after your nap?" Now that Zhang Yuwen had arrived, Sichen got back into the water, but Zhang Yuwen, noticing how red his skin was from the steam, made him get back out in case he fainted. "No more drinking tonight," Zhang Yuwen said in a warning tone. "Of course. I'd get a good beating if I wasted a beautiful night." Zhang Yuwen didn't reply, and Sichen came closer. "Are you looking forward to tonight?" Zhang Yuwen tried to dunk Sichen's head into the water, but Sichen was ready and fended off his attack. They wrestled in the water for a while, and Zhang Yuwen realized that Sichen was much stronger than him. The guy almost upended him, but ultimately, he teased Zhang Yuwen playfully for a moment and then let him go. Once they'd calmed down, Sichen asked, "What do you think it should be like when two guys are together?" "All I know is that they can soak in a hot spring together." Zhang Yuwen knew what he was trying to ask, but he refused to take the bait. Sichen laughed. "Uh-huh, that's one thing." "You should get out of the water and drink something," Zhang Yuwen said. So Sichen got up, naked, and sat at the edge of the pool to continue their conversation. Zhang Yuwen sized Suh-chun up. He was a bigger guy than Zhang Yuwen. In the natural world, larger animals often played the role of the protector, that is, the male. In same-sex relationships, this was maybe the top. By the way, Suh-chun said, can I ask to take the lead? That's called being the top, or one, Zhang Yuwen said. I knew you'd been thinking about this. Suh-chun's breathing quickened, nerves setting in. He licked his lips and looked at Zhang Yuwen. Just an idea. I'm just throwing it out for discussion. Zhang Yuwen countered with a question of his own. If I insisted on being the top, and otherwise, no deal, would you accept? Or take a step back and go back to being friends? No, Yuwen, Suh-chun said immediately. I really do love you. Belatedly, it occurred to him that a hot spring pool wasn't the most solemn place to profess his love. His face turned even redder as he tripped over his words, trying to explain. I think all of these things can be overcome if you really can agree to it, and it has to be me who, I'll be willing to give it a try, but Zhang Yuwen watched Suh-chun silently, feeling moved. It was clear from Suh-chun's reaction that he had never done it with a man, and he was nervous and clumsy when it came to gay sex. It was also clear that Suh-chun really liked him. It's just, Suh-chun continued apprehensively, I might not meet your expectations. I mean, I might not be totally harmonious. Zhang Yuwen gestured for him to stop talking. Generously, he said, Okay, sure. It's just a position, no big deal. I want to experience bottoming too. Suh-chun's breath caught. His body reacted to those words, and Zhang Yuwen, seeing it, burst into laughter and splashed him with water. Suh-chun blushed. Even if it feels uncomfortable, Zhang Yuwen rationalized, there are still plenty of other ways to do it. Then that's decided. Yeah, but I have a request. Zhang Yuwen looked Suh-chun's naked body up and down. With his physique paired with that handsome, serious face of his, he really was gorgeous. You have to let me top you once in a while. Can you agree to that? Zhang Yuwen had to have a taste of that glorious, fair elite body. Sure, Suh-chun said without so much as a second thought. What a bizarre conversation. Who had serious discussions about sexual roles in a hot spring pool? But this was an issue two men who wanted to be together had to resolve. Zhang Yuwen wondered if two bottoms who fell in love would also bargain with each other like this. When Zhang Yuwen decided to date Suh-chun, his intent was to pursue a wholly new kind of same-sex relationship, one that was equal and mutual. There would be no big, strong top who had to care for and dote on the bottom, and no bottom relying on his top. But Suh-chun was so inexperienced with this budding romance that he handled many of the details as if it were a heterosexual relationship. Sometimes he treated Zhang Yuwen as a girl, but that didn't matter. People could change. During dinner, the mood was much livelier than the previous night. Yanne and Suh-chun didn't drink, and Weize and Jinxing sat together again. Zhang Yuwen wanted to brag about Xiao-chi calling his name, but she was engrossed in a cartoon on Yanne's phone. We haven't toasted yet, Chahng said. Oh yeah. Jinxing put down his phone and picked up his cup. The moment the toast was suggested, Zhang Yuwen's social anxiety reared its ugly head, and sure enough, Chahng said, Thanks to Yuwen for bringing us together. Yeah, Weize chimed in. Thank you, Yuwen, for taking us out to have a good time. It's the work of fate, I guess, said Zhang Yuwen, blushing. Thank you, Yuwen. Yanne raised his cup with a smile. You know what I want to say. Thanks, said Jinxing. You've changed me a lot. Zhang Yuwen dreaded situations like this more than anything, especially when people made genuine expressions of emotion. Every time it happened, he wanted to hide under the table. Yuwen is a wonderful person, added Suh-chun. It's truly a blessing to know you. Stop it, guys, Zhang Yuwen pleaded. This is mortifying. Really, Weize continued, my life has changed completely. I'm so much happier than I used to be. Then I guess I won't be chasing you guys for the rent, Zhang Yuwen thought. Okay, enough. Let's toast, he said. Let's all keep working hard in the coming year. They clinked cups, and Zhang Yuwen felt a little ashamed. After all, his motive for bringing them all together at Riverbay Road was far from pure. If anything, he was the one who'd learned from his warm, kind-hearted roommates. He used to think he could live perfectly happy as a recluse, but their presence made his life so much more vibrant. He had nothing to give them. All he had was a bit of money. Surrounded by his friends, for the first time in his life, Zhang Yuwen felt just how inadequate his soul was. Thankfully, the adulation of the sub-landlord ended before long. They were having beef hot pot, and as soon as it was served, everyone exclaimed in delight and whipped out their phones to take photos. Jinxing even used his camera. "Man, I wish I could stay here forever," said Jung WAY-dzuh. "I'll bring you here again next time," Zhang Yuwen told him. "Isn't home good, though?" Jinxing laughed. "It doesn't have a hot spring, but home is also very comfortable." Thinking it over, Zhang WAY-dzuh had to agree. Hearing them speak about home made Suh-chun look at Zhang Yuwen. Zhang Yuwen knew that he was thinking about how they would see each other in the future, whether they would live together, whether they would spend the night, and so on. Those thoughts were a little premature. Yes, their relationship was progressing at lightning speed, but Zhang Yuwen still had no plans to discuss cohabitation just yet. Having sex while they were dating was one thing, but cohabitation meant sharing a life. But that didn't mean that Zhang Yuwen wouldn't tease him about it, seeing Suh-chun lost in thought. Suh-chun sat across from him in the dining room laid with tatami mats. He was shoulder to shoulder with Yanne, who was chatting with Chang Jinxing. Listening to them joke around, Zhang Yuwen extended his foot, clad in a white athletic sock, found Suh-chun's feet under the table and stroked it. Yanne stopped talking and glanced at Zhang Yuwen, realizing he'd gotten the wrong person. Zhang Yuwen yanked his leg back. "Sorry." Yanne understood that Zhang Yuwen had meant to flirt with Suh-chun, so he said nothing. Suh-chun shot Zhang Yuwen a questioning look, but Zhang Yuwen couldn't try his move again. Suh-chun would realize immediately what had happened. Instead, Zhang Yuwen sat in embarrassed silence. Luckily for him, Chahng made a joke about working out and beef, and everyone cracked up. And then it was night. Dinner without alcohol always seemed to be missing something. When they returned to their room, Suh-chun closed the door and embraced Zhang Yuwen from behind. "What are you doing?" Zhang Yuwen said. "Keep your sneaky hands to yourself. I'm too full." "But I'm not doing it sneakily. I'm doing it openly. I want to be intimate with you." No sooner did Suh-chun say these words than a voice outside interrupted his romantic wish. "Yuwen, what are you guys doing?" Chang Jinxing asked. Zhang Yuwen laughed uncontrollably. Suh-chun felt a little helpless. "Shh," Zhang Yuwen said as he opened the door. "Don't wake Xiao-chi." Yanne stepped out of his room into the common area. "She wouldn't wake up even if we played mahjong next to her. Want to come out and play?" "Play what?" Suh-chun stepped out too. "Monopoly?" Chahng, Zhang WAY-dzuh, and Chang Jinxing each took a seat in the common area. Everyone brought over cushions and sat around the low table. Suh-chun's phone rang, and he went back to the room to answer the call. Zhang Yuwen reserved the spot next to him for when Suh-chun returned. "Let's play Truth or Dare," Zhang WAY-dzuh suggested again. "No!" Everyone thought at the same time, but they were all waiting for someone else to object. Instead, the word that came out of each person's mouth was, "Sure." "Okay, but let's set a theme," Zhang Yuwen said. Everyone relaxed a little, thinking, "That's much safer than it was on the mountain." "Fine with me," said Chahng. "Dice or playing cards?" "Let me see," Chang Jinxing said. "What topics are suggested online for a themed Truth or Dare?" "Cards, I guess." Zhang WAY-dzuh shuffled the cards. "Can we use the Monopoly money and chips to play?" "Sure," said Zhang Yuwen. Thus, they made the decision for the absent Suh-chun. Zhang WAY-dzuh dealt the cards, and Chahng distributed the chips. They started a 6-person game. 1 truth per round, a total of 6 rounds. The one who loses the most will do a dare. "Okay," Yanne said. "What's the theme?" "Let me see. The first one is..." Jinxing said. This. Sexual preferences. Oh, God. What unspeakable fetish do you have? Let's talk about your kinks. You must describe it in detail. No less than 3,000 words. Damn. Simultaneously, everyone thought, this is too much. Pick something else, Zhang Yuwen said. We're better off choosing this than the others, Jinxing said. Trust me. Damn. This is a good one, said Chahng. I've been curious about your sexual fetishes for a long time. Zhang Yuwen stared at him. Do we drink? Asked Jinxing. It's no fun if we don't. Just don't drink too much. Zhang Yuwen thought for a moment. It's okay if it's just a little. Something with a low alcohol content. I'll go buy it. Zhang Yuwen left to make the purchase, and Chahng said, let's all target Suh-chun. I'm curious as hell. Suh-chun emerged, his call finished, and everyone looked at him. Where's Yuwen? He went to buy some booze, Weize said. Maybe you can help him with his cards. Zhang Yuwen returned with a large bag containing fruit wine and milk wine in various flavors. The alcohol content wasn't as high as sake, but it wasn't low either. Everyone picked their flavor and started drinking. Suh-chun's phone rang again, and he apologized and stepped away to answer the call. For a while, everyone played their cards carefully, fearing that they would be targeted. Remember, we agreed on this theme, okay? Jinxing said. Zhang Yuwen played dumb. What thing? He had 2 sets of cards. His own hand was almost done, but Suh-chun's set was practically untouched. Suh-chun returned. I'm really sorry. So much stuff came up tonight. No worries, the other guy said mischievously. The card game was intense. They all knew that the moment of social embarrassment would eventually come calling, but they wanted it put off for as long as possible. Unexpectedly, the first round's loser was the person who'd suggested the theme, Jinxing. At one point, he had only 1 pair of cards left, but the others were too fast, catching him off guard as they outmaneuvered him. He was stunned. Everyone started laughing, not having expected Jinxing to be the first to lose. Spill it! But Suh-chun, who was still unaware of the stakes, looked confused. Is there a rule I'm missing? Doubled over with laughter, Zhang Yuwen gestured to Suh-chun to just listen and find out. Jinxing couldn't bring himself to say it. He could fabricate one, yeah, but this bunch of guys would see right through it. Don't make it up, Chahng warned. We've been buddies for so long. You think we can't tell? Jinxing glanced at Chahng, then braced himself and said, I kind of want to experiment with P-spot highs. Oh, wow. Everyone was scandalized. Zhang Yuwen was surprised too, though it was entirely plausible. Suh-chun was still clueless. Are we playing truth? But I'm a top, Jinxing clarified. So what if you're a bottom? Yuwen said. What's wrong with being a bottom? Come here, give me a kiss. Blushing, Jinxing pushed Yuwen away. Suh-chun whispered to Zhang Yuwen. What's a P-spot high? Just as Zhang Yuwen was about to explain, Jinxing clarified. Prostate orgasm. Oh yeah, prostate orgasm. Suh-chun looked like he wanted to ask where the prostate was, but he wisely kept quiet. Weize looked conflicted, as if the top he had a crush on was no longer pure. Jinxing explained, I had a girlfriend who tried it with me once or twice, and somehow it became a bit of a kink. Of course, most of the time, I'm just fantasizing. A lot of straight men are into it, Chahng said. I have a client who enjoys being rimmed by his wife. Zhang Yuwen didn't find it at all shocking. Instead, he was intrigued. The way Jinxing looked as he composed himself and candidly discussed his preferences was actually a little sexy. It was a stark contrast to his playboy persona. Is a prostate orgasm really that good? Zhang Yuwen asked. It's okay, I guess, Weize said. It depends on the top's technique. If you do it yourself, you can pinpoint the good spots more accurately. Back when Zhang Yuwen was with his ex, he couldn't figure out if his lover felt good or if he was just playing along because he loved Zhang Yuwen. He believed that he did feel pleasure, but over time, the frequency of their lovemaking decreased. So, it's an intense sensation? Asked Yanjun. You want to try? Chahng asked Yanjun. Yanjun waved his hand dismissively, and everyone laughed again. None of you have experienced it before? Jinxing asked. The three of them haven't, Chahng said. I have, once. Whoa! Zhang Yuwen struggled to imagine Chahng as a bottom, but there was a sexy contrast in seeing an athletic man in that role. The positions weren't always set in stone among gay couples. Some people sought novelty and excitement, so they switch roles a few times to spice things up. Right? Jinxing said to Chahng. It feels good. It hurts at the start, Chahng said, but yeah, it did get kind of pleasurable later, I guess. Maybe you didn't find the right position, Jinxing said. Size and technique matter too. I used to hook up with a guy who had been a bottom before, WAY-dzuh chimed in. His technique was amazing. He made me come every time, like wave after wave of pleasure crashing into me. Then are you able to find the prostate with accuracy? Yanjun asked Jinxing. Yeah, it's like chestnut. You can't thrust at it too hard because it'll hurt, and you can't go too deep either, or you'll hit past the P-spot. What's past the P-spot? Suh-chun asked. Everyone was struck speechless. Suh-chun stared right back at them. It's deeper inside the body, and it'll hurt, Zhang Yuwen explained. Doesn't matter if it's a man or woman. If it's too long, it'll feel uncomfortable. This knowledge belonged only to those with hardware and a certain size and sufficient experience. The prostate point is actually quite shallow, Weize added. 5 inches is usually enough. The rest depends on technique. Kissing and caressing are important too. Yeah, that's right, Zhang Yuwen agreed. Bigger wasn't always necessarily better when it came to hardware. At most, it just looked sexy. Then, do you like being the bottom? Weize asked. Actually, I don't want to be the bottom, Jinxing said. I just have this kink. Oh, Zhang Yuwen said. So you're like a straight guy who likes being pegged. You can also play from the front, Chahng said. You can reach the prostate by going the front route too. How do you know so much? Everyone was seeing Chahng in a new light. I've tried that, Jinxing said. It's more intense, but also easier to get an infection. What's the front route? Suh-chun asked. Zhang Yuwen held his forehead in his hand. Urethral play. It was Suh-chun's first encounter with this topic. He felt like he was in a cramming session before an exam, and his brain cells struggled to keep up. All right, Jinxing said. Let's continue? Wait, Chahng said. This doesn't count as a fetish, right? It's just something that any normal bottom likes. But I'm a top, Jinxing insisted as he shuffled the cards. Yanjun caught it too. He almost got away with it. Really? Jinxing said. I really only have this one kink. You have to consider each person's individual circumstances. Zhang Yuwen burst out laughing, and Jinxing started dealing the cards again so that nobody would press further. Suh-chun started taking his cards seriously in the second round, but it was clear from his expression that he was still reeling from the previous conversation. Does a prostate orgasm really feel that good? He asked Zhang Yuwen with slightly furrowed brows. Everyone heard the question. They chorused. You want to try it? And hooted with laughter, which finally woke Xiao-ti up. Yanjun quickly went into his room to pacify her, and everyone resumed their conversation with gusto. This time, instead of raising Jinxing, they moved on to Chahng's short-lived relationship from his previous year. All right, guys, shush, Yanjun said. Keep your voices down. Playing cards flew across the table, and the fruit wine started to take its hold over all of them. As the alcohol kicked in, their conversations became even more uninhibited, and Zhang Yuwen felt himself getting hard. Jinxing played his last card. Your turn now, Yuwen. Finally, said Chahng, who had forgotten all about targeting Suh-chun. Zhang Yuwen's hand this round had been terrible, and he knew he couldn't run from it. So he was ready. I like it outdoors. Outdoor sex, I guess. Oh. While not as shocking as Jinxing's confession, it was still a relatively uncommon kink. Like in school buildings, Zhang Yuwen continued, on the rooftop, in the classroom, on the campus grounds. but you have to be very careful of security cameras. Suh-chun looked at Zhang Yuwen with surprise. What about the restrooms? Yuwen asked. Too dirty for me. The environment has to be clean. Then have you ever done it outdoors? Zhang Weize asked curiously. Sorry for asking, Suh-chun Guga. I don't mind, Suh-chun said. Not at all. I'd like to hear the answer too. Tell us. Chapter 26. Zhang Yuwen resigned himself to his fate. Suh-chun didn't have a typical jealous mindset, so he wasn't at all jealous of Zhang Yuwen's ex. On the contrary, he was interested in knowing. He knew Zhang Yuwen was the top in his last relationship, but now that they'd defined their relationship, he was the bottom. The thought that his wife had fucked other people in the past instead of being the one getting fucked made Suh-chun inexplicably excited. Okay, whoa there, Suh-chun. Anyway, I guess places like the beach would be up your alley, said Yuwen. Beaches are my favorite. Yuwen shuffled the cards. It's sexy to be just wearing swimming trunks, and it's convenient to make love there too. So, do you want to be seen by others or nah? Do you find that exciting? No, Zhang Yuwen clarified. We can't be seen. I won't do it in public. Those are two different things. I don't want a third person watching. Yuwen grinned. I get it. It's the thrill of potentially getting caught in the act. Exactly. Zhang Yuwen laughed. That's accurate, but no public exposure. It's not the same as exhibitionism. So, Chang Jinxing asked, do you like wearing some kind of sex toy while you're taking the subway? Zhang Yuwen wanted to glance at Suh-chun, but he held himself back. If both parties are doing it, then yes, that'd be very exciting, like a cage or something. Oh, everyone chorused. Got it. Zhang Yuwen shared a little about his experience of having sex in the fire escape of a school building. Being a director, his language was expressive and precise, and his scene rendering was spot on. By the end, everyone was blushing and had nothing to ask. So romantic, Suh-chun remarked. Everyone else rounded on him. Seriously? Zhang Yuwen dealt the cards. At this rate, no one can escape. You can, if you keep winning, Chahng said. When are we stopping? Asked Zheng Weize. When the fireworks start, I guess. Chahng glanced at the time. 2 more hours. There are fireworks at 10 tonight. This round, Yuwen lost. Everyone stared at the devoted dad, and Chahng issued a reminder. Let me make it clear. It can't be something like long legs or fair skin. Yuwen drank some wine and thought for a moment. My sexual preferences are similar to Yuwen's. One is outdoor. The rest of the guys cut him off, exclaiming that his answer was unacceptable. Zhang Yuwen, for his part, said, Right? Doing it outdoors is exciting. Yuwen went on. I used to surf, and I only wore swimming briefs. It was at the beach, near naked. Let me finish. There's more. Who's near naked? You or the other guy? Chang Jinxing asked. Both. You know, guys, less fabric. This is only one thing. I have more. The second is, you know the kind. Yuwen racked his brain for the right words. Domestic guys. Everyone was confused. Zhang Yuwen asked, the kind that wears pajamas or casual wear? Yeah, kind of like a Japanese house husband. I really want to fuck them. Why do you want to fuck a Japanese house? Zheng Weize asked, not quite catching all his words. They all howled with laughter. Yuwen tried again. They give off a wife vibe. A gentleman cooking, for example. All eyes turned to Chang Jinxing. No, not that sort, Yuwen said. Ideally, he would be wearing sexy black briefs under his pajamas and have slight abs. After work, I could hug him from behind and start fucking him right there in the kitchen. If he had a thing for suits, even better. So, essentially a wife, said Chahng, summing it up for Yuwen. A wife bottom, is that it? Yuwen said. Then you must like the plots in certain films. Suh-chun had watched AV films before. The guy wakes up and goes to work, while the girl wears only an apron. Ha! Yes, exactly, Yuwen said. But replace the housewife with the bottom wearing only an apron as he makes breakfast. The top steps out, already changed into a suit. One in formal attire, the other naked, going at it on the dining table or the kitchen island. That's exhilarating. I could even skip work and stay home, fucking all day like rabbits. They erupted into laughter again. Okay. Zhang Yuwen thought this could also be considered a kink. Yuwen rarely spoke, but he was brimming with vitality when it came to sex. Perhaps in his sexual fantasies, the scenarios were also full of sunshine. Let's see who's next. They could barely hold back after Yuwen's description and the others' never-ending additions. It was like a lights-out conversation in the university dorm, where everyone shared their sexual experiences without any restraint. The only difference was that all these dorm mates were gay. When Zhang Yuwen was in school, his roommates talked about girls every day. He couldn't just keep quiet, and he didn't want to come out to them either. So he'd had to pretend to be interested. This night filled in one of the missing pieces in his life. It didn't matter anymore to the three who'd already lost the game, and they began to target the other three. Soon, Chahng lost. "Guess my fetish?" he said calmly as he shuffled the cards. They all jeered at him. "How would we know? It's not like we've slept with you." Suh-chun and Chahng were pretty familiar with one another, but Suh-chun had to do some mental readjustment to adapt to the transition from being coach and client to their current relationship. "I think you told me before that you have a thing for suits," Suh-chun said. "A little bit," Chahng said. "Actually, I have several kinks. Wait, let me finish first. I think I'm a bit of an M, and I also have a fetish for socks and shoes, a mild one." Oh. Zhang Yuwen could have guessed that. Socks were a fairly common kink for gay guys, so maybe Changhong's was a little more intense. And feet were almost a universal fetish among men, gay or straight. Black stockings, fishnet stockings, high-heeled shoes. They came with inherent sexual connotations. Everyone passed over the second thing, more curious about his masochistic tendencies. "Tell us more about this M thing." "Like, I have to be in the role of a top as an M. Like, in some films where a macho man is tied up. The guys began visualizing Chahng tied up. "And then I get a bottom to order me around and play with my dick. He can even step on it. If he's a gentleman in a suit, then it's perfect." "Then all your fetishes will stack together," Yuwen joked, sparking another round of laughter. "Exactly." Chahng wasn't embarrassed at all. On the contrary, he was very frank about everything. "I work out, right? So I want someone to abuse me and then, after he trains me, order me to fuck him." "Your kink is like a straight man's," said WAY-dzuh. "How is that different from being stepped on with high heels?" If the genders were switched around, Chahng would be the kind of straight guy who liked playing a submissive dog, except his sadist partner would be an elite type instead of a queen. "Right," Chahng said. "Seems like it. I wouldn't have realized that if you hadn't mentioned it." "Do you like latex bodysuits?" Jinxing asked, sizing Chahng up. "With your body type, I think people would drool if you wore a tight suit." "Never tried it before," Chahng said. "Isn't that kind of gay?" "What?" Seeing that the discussion was about to cool off, Zhang Yuwen tossed Chahng a provocative line. "Would you let someone tie you up and penetrate you with a sex machine?" Everybody roared with laughter. "No, I wouldn't," Chahng replied. "That's too hardcore." "What's a sex machine?" Suh-chun had too many questions. Zhang Yuwen explained it to him briefly, then said to Chahng, "But you said you've been topped before." "That was with my ex," Chahng explained. "I saw myself as his knight in shining armor, but he treated me like his dog. Well, not entirely a dog, but like he taught me, trained me, or rather," Zhang Yuwen found the right word. "Tamed you." "Right. Tamed me. That was my first time. It was perverted, but I was addicted." Damn. Yuwen was a little overwhelmed, but the matter-of-fact way Chahng talked about his dog-like mentality was inexplicably captivating. Suh-chun stopped even answering his calls. He just pressed mute so he could listen attentively to Chen. How about a dogtail butt plug? Yuwen asked. Chen patted Yuwen on the head. Their relationship had always been good, so Yuwen didn't have to hold back on his needling. I don't like stuffing things into my butt. Then what about a ball gag? Asked Zhang Weize. That's fine with me, Chen said. But hey, don't start imagining it, and stop looking at me like that. Let's keep playing cards. 2 more guys left, and we have half an hour to go. Zhang Yuwen glanced at Suh-chun's phone. Do you have something important going on? Same old crap from the company, Suh-chun replied. Zhang Yuwen didn't press him further, and they resumed playing cards. This time, Zhang Weize gave up resisting. All his roommates had been through a round of truth, and he couldn't just nope out of it. During the round, though, Suh-chun left to answer another call, and Chen immediately signaled to Zhang Yuwen. Zhang Yuwen played for Suh-chun, unsure whether to laugh or cry. It's finally Suh-chun's turn, Chen whispered. But several seconds later, they heard Suh-chun's furious voice from the room. Can't you just let me have a vacation? What's so important that you have to say it now? You want me to go back now and sort it out with you? Everyone looked at Zhang Yuwen. His business partner, Zhang Yuwen explained. Sounds like a married couple, right? But that's how business partners' arguments go. As long as you're sure there's no problem, said Jinxing, who was worried about Zhang Yuwen being deceived. Everybody's worried about him being deceived. I went to his house every time we had a training session, Chen added. He's been living alone the whole time. I can confirm that much. I work myself to the bone every day for you. Even on Christmas, I had to work overtime on the plane. Suh-chun's words dispelled everyone's doubts. Soon, his voice quieted a little, and in the end, he said, I'm turning off my phone. Then he stormed out, took 2 breaths, and composed himself. Back to his usual expression, he asked, Whose turn? Zhang Yuwen was impressed. This was a self-possessed man who had not brought his anger out into the common area. Your turn, Chen said, once he'd observed Suh-chun's expression and satisfied himself that he wasn't about to start raging. I helped you lose, Zhang Yuwen chimed in. While Suh-chun was on the phone, Zhang Yuwen had lost all his cards. Everyone laughed, and Suh-chun looked astonished. Spill it, Yuwen said. We're all ears. You have to come up with one, even if you have to make it up, Chen said. The guys doubled over with laughter. Suh-chun's face turned beet red. What if I perform something instead? Nope, Jinxing said. Who cares about a performance? Said Zhang Yuwen. Spill. You must have one. I kind of want to try everything after hearing so much, Suh-chun said. Everyone else erupted into laughter. I'm serious. That's such a diplomatic answer, Zhang Yuwen remarked. He'd intended to let him off the hook, but Suh-chun stammered. I like little princes with black-rimmed glasses. I think... what's that word? The bottom conquering the top? Like what Chen mentioned about the knight. Right. A knight who protects others. Oh, no. I just thought of one. I think I like entering men from the back. That's what we call... I'm sorry. I'm gonna read it. That's what we call being gay, dude. Zhang Yuwen really didn't know what to do with him. I'm sorry. Now I'm really thinking the man has no experience. Okay. Anal intercourse just makes me excited. It's very stimulating because, oh boy, you make it sound so clinical. Not even Jung Weize could bear to listen further. It hurts a little, maybe. It does, Jung Weize said, but it also feels good. Seeing someone I like that way makes me excited, like very excited. I might be a bit of an S. I was shocked the first time I saw them doing it from the back in a porno, but it also opened my eyes. Oh, yeah, and there's more. Chahng had thought about getting him to drink as a penalty, but at this point, they were all realizing that Suh-chun might really have been straight before. What was common to gay men, like penetrating each other, was, to Suh-chun, a perverse act. But once he learned about it, he subconsciously turned it into a kink. Homosexuality itself was just a sexual preference. What else? Zhang Yuwen grinned. We're listening. Suh-chun looked at him. I used to be impotent. Huh? Everyone looked flummoxed. What? Zhang Yuwen had examined his goods earlier that day. He couldn't believe his ears. There was a time I couldn't get it up, Suh-chun insisted. You probably just jerk off too much, Yuwen said. You'll be fine after a break. No, I rarely use my hands. It persisted for almost 2 years, Suh-chun said. Zhang Yuwen gave him a skeptical look. But I'm fine now. I've completely recovered. He looked at Zhang Yuwen with a gaze that said, You know what I mean. Zhang Yuwen promptly turned to the others. Don't look at me. I've never tested it. Uh-huh. The guys nodded sympathetically. Could be work stress, Chang Jinxing said. Maybe. Suh-chun thought for a moment before turning on his phone. To Zhang Yuwen, he said, Let me show you my last diagnostic report. Why would I want to see your erectile dysfunction diagnostic report? Zhang Yuwen was laughing so hard, tears were running down his face. Red-faced, Suh-chun explained, Just so you know that for 2 full years, I basically it felt so terrible. So, if you couldn't get an erection, Weize asked, did you ejaculate in your wet dreams? Yeah, but not very hard. I just inexplicably ejaculate in my sleep, and most of the time, I wouldn't even realize it. It wasn't wet dreams either. Maybe you just didn't meet someone you liked, Yuwen said. Even so, you can still get hard watching porn, right? Chahng mused aloud. And then there's also morning wood under normal circumstances. Yeah, Suh-chun replied. I just realized one day that I no longer had any reaction to girls' naked bodies, and later on, the morning wood stopped too. It must be psychological, Zhang Yuwen said. In any case, that's all good as long as you're fine now. Maybe you were just too busy. Yuwen could empathize with a fellow corporate slave. Suh-chun spread his hands, indicating that he was done talking. Whose turn now? Me, Weize said. Might as well say it. I don't want to be left out. Everyone looked at him, grinning. It's nothing special, actually. I like being sworn at and slapped in bed. Wow, Chahng blurted. You're even more of an M than I am. Not embarrassed at all, Weize quirked a smile. And I also liked being choked. Be careful with that, okay? Zhang Yuwen said. I don't have a partner now anyway, said Weize. I think I'm a hardcore masochist. Being bullied and abused makes me excited. Jinxing grinned at Weize, looking like he had something to say but apparently decided against it. In this brief silence, Chahng glanced at his phone. It's time for the fireworks. So what's the tally? Who lost the most? Yuwen asked. Look, it's time for the dare. Flustered, Jinxing tried to mix up the chips, but a sharp-eyed Chahng caught him by the wrist. Hey, what are you doing? So you're it, then. Ha! Zhang Yuwen counted the chips. The totals proved that Jinxing was the one who'd lost the most, and surprisingly enough, Suh-chun emerged as the top winner. He kept going away. The rule was that the winner would set a challenge for the loser. Suh-chun hadn't really played all that seriously, though. Zhang Yuwen was the one who'd won money for him. Jinxing made a pleading gesture to Suh-chun, telling him not to be too hard on him. Suh-chun thought about it and glanced at Zhang Yuwen, who said, Don't look at me. Our friendship is still going strong. Don't make me come up with a dare. In the end, Suh-chun said, Choose one of us here and kiss him. Jinxing heaved a sigh of relief, and Zhang Yuwen shot Suh-chun a slightly reproachful look. How about kissing Sichen? Chahng suggested, ready to stir the pot. Suh-chun crossed his hands in a no gesture, looking flustered. Oh, Weize exclaimed, the fireworks are starting. Look. The sounds of the fireworks going off, bang, bang, echoed outside. Fireworks shot into the sky from the side of the mountain, lighting up the first night of the new year. The guy stepped out into the back garden of Crane Hall and gazed into the night sky from the deck. Jinxing whipped out his camera and took photos of them all. When he got to Weize, the younger boy was staring at the resplendent fireworks, spellbound. Jinxing snapped his fingers at him. Weize turned to him with a melancholic smile, raising a brow as he mimed taking a photo with his fingers against his face. Please do not kiss him. Jinxing took the photo, then leaned in and gave him a light kiss on the lips. In that moment, fireworks bloomed, illuminating the long night and bringing the landscape below to life in a dazzling riot of colors, like a massive wish slip with everyone's New Year wishes on it, drifting in the wind toward that unreachable dreamscape far, far away. Alrighty, everyone. We have officially finished Volume 1. So, well... Here are the very, very minimal thoughts that I have on this. So I'm wondering exactly what the specific details are of Suh-chun's job and why he's considering leaving. And yeah, that's pretty much it all I have to say on that. I also think it's interesting, which this may have been in the last chapters as well, and seeing it in this one, but just seeing how much Zhang Yuwen really likes children. And like, I think in the last chapters, it kind of gave off the vibe like Suh-chun really didn't, but clearly Zhang Yuwen does. And then even in these chapters, when Xiao-Qi said his name, that man was over the moon. He was like, if he had her as a daughter or any other daughter, he probably would live single for the rest of his life because all he would care about is taking care of that daughter and making her happy and spoiling her, la, la, la. And so he's clearly enthralled with the idea of children. So I feel like that might be an important conversation to have one day when they get to that point. Anyway, also, Xiao-Qi calling him Yuwen was absolutely adorable, and I agree. Saying Yuwen is not the easiest name to say. It would be different. It was just like Yuwen, but Yuwen, that's a bit difficult. So kudos to her. Now, as far as this truth or dare game, where basically it was all truth, and whoever lost the most when they were playing with the cards would have to do a dare in the end, it was interesting, I guess. Yeah. Like, I read the chapters, but I wasn't really, I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. Like, I didn't really care hearing about their kinks and everything. I mean, I read it. It wasn't bad, I'll say. Just, I don't know what it is that I'm trying to say. Although we did learn something new, like Suh-chun, he had erectile dysfunction. So clearly that's not a thing anymore. And maybe it was just psychological. Maybe it was medical. Maybe it was both psychological and medical. We don't know. And then we learned that Zhang Yuwen and Yanjuan share some kinks. We also learned that Chahng and Weize share a kink. And then we have the oddball Jinxing, who is declaring that he is a top, but he likes a bottom kink specifically. And then Suh-chun just wants to try everything now. Everything is such a novice novel experience for him, which I totally get that. It's kind of like when I first started reading Danmei, which I guess I'm still kind of in that phase, but growing out of it. But everything was just so wow and crazy to me that I'm not going to go into all of that. The point is, the last chapters was them talking about these preferences and whatnot, and it was very interesting. Nevertheless, we have reached the end. It was very anticlimactic, which, not saying it had to be climactic. I don't know. I'm just waiting for something to happen. It has to happen in Volume 2. I need some kind of big conflict. Yeah. That's what I need, because it's a little bit too much fluff and no really big issues coming up. So yeah, I'm hoping for something. Anyway, please let me know your thoughts and reactions in the comment section. And I will see you guys on Sunday, November the 15th, to have a discussion about this. But anyway, for you Patreoners, we actually are going to be starting volume 2 already. So yay for you guys. Okay, that's pretty much all I have to say. Have a great day and or night, and 我爱你们.